the Matawan Creek Maneater. Good morning, guys. This is Mark the History Hawk. I'm at a location now that's gone down in history as one of the most famous shark attacks ever. Now, this is called Matawan Creek. Matawan Creek, you may remember, was the infamous shark attacks that they say was the inspiration for the movie Jaws, which it indeed was not, because Peter Benchley, who wrote the book, said it was indeed not. So, and over here, I want to show you a tremendous piece of artwork that someone put up just to remember. I'm crossing a little footbridge here over the creek. Hey, if you look over there, I'm going to zoom in on it because this is spectacular. This is the spot where those two boys, or a boy and an adult, were killed, but I'll get to that in a moment. Alright guys, I made my way around, and these are the two victims on top. The one on the left is called Lester Stillwell. He was the young boy who was first hurt, and the man on the right, or was first attacked, the man on the right was the man who tried to jump in and save him. And when he jumped in to save him, he became the second victim. Our story begins on July 1st, 1916, in the Jersey Shore town of Beach Haven on Long Beach Island. Charles Epting Van Zandt, 28, of Philadelphia, was on vacation with his family. At approximately 6:30 p.m., before sitting down to dinner, decided to take a quick swim with his dog in the Atlantic Ocean. But it wasn't long after entering the water that he began to scream out in horrifying agony. Sunbathers on the beach thought he was simply yelling for his dog, a large Chesapeake Bay Retriever. However, it wasn't calls for his dog. It was a large shark tearing into his leg. When they realized what was happening, a lifeguard and a beachgoer went to save him and began dragging him to shore. Looking back, both men saw the shark was actually following them back to the beach. Once they got Van Zandt on the beach, they noticed that Van Zandt's left upper leg had been torn into a fleshy mess and was bleeding profusely. They rushed Van Zandt back to the hotel, where he died moments later from blood loss on the hotel manager's desk. The next attack occurred on July 6th, about 45 miles north of Beach Haven in Spring Lake. Charles Bruder was a Swiss immigrant who took on work as a bell captain at the Essex and Sussex Hotel. During his break, he went down to the beach for a swim. As he swam out into the ocean, he was attacked, as estimated about 130 yards from the beach. Two lifeguards heard his horrific screams and took immediate action. They hurriedly launched their lifeboat and rowed out to rescue Bruder. But when they got to him, they saw that the ocean was stained crimson red with Bruder's blood. When the two lifeguards pulled him onto the lifeboat, they saw that both of his legs had been severed, and a huge bite mark was seen around his abdomen. Despite the quick actions of the two lifeguards, Bruder died before they got him back to the beach. He had bled out in the lifeboat. As news agencies continued to make the shark attacks front-page news all over the world, President Woodrow Wilson became involved and ordered the Coast Guard to protect the waterways along the coast. As an added measure, some towns began to put wire netting around the swimming areas. However, beachgoers and vacationers had fallen into a state of panic with Van Zandt's and Bruder's attacks. The impact on beach revenues began to slip almost immediately. The Jersey Shore Maneater, as the shark was described in the media, had frightened many beachgoers away. The resorts and hotels were soon to follow. 6 days later, on July 12th, as a major heat wave was blanketing most of the Northeast, the shore was packed with swimmers seeking refuge from the blistering heat. The same day, Thomas Cottrell, a sea captain residing in Matawan, had reported an 8-foot-long shark traveling along the creek, but he ignored this, saying sharks would not swim this far inland. With temperatures approaching 100 degrees, at around 2 p.m., 5 boys decided to go skinny dipping, which was not uncommon at the time, in Matawan Creek near Wyckoff Docks. Little did they know that the shark Cottrell had reported earlier was heading their way. The 5 boys frolicked in the creek, splashing around and enjoying the cool creek water. A short distance away, the boys noticed what appeared to be a plank or log traveling just below the surface. But what they didn't realize was the object was traveling against the tide. Suddenly, a dorsal fin appeared on the surface, and the boys instantly knew what it was. The shark had made the trek of almost 2 miles up the creek from Raritan Bay. As the boys began to head to shore, horrible screams had forced them to turn and see in terror of what was unfolding. It was at that moment they saw 11-year-old Lester Stillwell was being attacked and pulled underwater by the shark. Still unclothed, the boys ran to get help. Hearing the boys' pleas for help, a local shop owner, Stanley Fisher, ran back to Wyckoff Dock with the boys to save Stillwell. As the group of townspeople gathered on the shore, Fisher went into the water to retrieve Stillwell. As he recovered Stillwell's body from the murky waters and was making his way back to shore, he too was attacked and lost hold of Stillwell. The townspeople watched in stunned horror when Fisher was pulled out of the water with a gaping wound on his right thigh. He was rushed to Monmouth Memorial Hospital in Long Branch. Sadly, Fisher had lost too much blood and became the 4th victim in the deadly attacks. Stillwell's body wasn't recovered until 2 days later, about 50 yards from Wyckoff Dock. Thus far, in 12 days, the shark attacks had taken 4 lives. New Jersey was now in an extreme panic. They were assured by scientists days earlier that the attacks on Van Sant and Bruder were coincidental attacks, and there was nothing further to worry about. They were wrong. The killer shark was not done. A half-mile away from the Wyckoff Docks, a 14-year-old boy, Joseph Dunn, was attacked. If it weren't for his brother and a friend that were accompanying him, they fought to pull the young teen from the shark's jaws. Dunn would have become the 5th death. Dunn was taken to St. Peter's Hospital in New Brunswick and became the only survivor of the man-eater's terror. 1 month later, Dunn was released from the hospital. As newspapers and wire telegrams throughout the world began reporting about the savage attacks along the Jersey shore, the media frenzy added greatly to the public panic, and people were demanding action. This led to one of the biggest shark hunts in New Jersey history. The mayor of Matawan even offered a $100 reward, which is nearly $3,000 today, to the person who caught and killed the shark. People gathered en masse to hunt the killer shark. Some went as far as to carry handguns, rifles, shotguns, and even dynamite to kill it. The panic was described by author Michael Capuzzo in his book, Close to the Shore, as unrivaled in American history. On July 14th, a lion tamer for Barnum and Bailey Circus caught a 7-foot, 325-pound great white shark in Raritan Bay. It is noted that he opened up the shark's stomach to find 15 pounds of flesh and human bones. Scientists later confirmed that the remains were indeed human. However, many people speculated it was staged. What still remained in people's minds was that sharks were savage beasts prowling our waterways in search of human prey. The ensuing scientific studies were varied as to what kind of shark could have killed the bathers. The most common belief was that it was a great white shark had traveled north up the New Jersey coast, killing Van Zandt and Bruder, eventually making its way into Matawan Creek. In the meantime, as scientists debated, reports on shark sightings were growing exponentially, and they had no real answers. One man is even quoted as saying it was because German U-boats were forcing the sharks closer to land. But the most obvious question remained. How could one shark be responsible for all the attacks? Their best and only clue was that great white sharks don't like brackish water, which is what Matawan Creek is. The acceptable conclusion was that sharks' attack that killed people were not from the same shark. The shark in Matawan Creek was most likely a bull shark. They are very aggressive and can live in brackish waters. I tend to lean towards this shark being the Matawan Creek killer. Although the type of shark still remains debated, the impact on the New Jersey shore is still felt today. It remains as a tragic part of New Jersey's history and will for some time to come. Although many have claimed these events as the inspiration for Peter Benchley's book Jaws, that is not accurate. Benchley himself has stated the attacks in Matawan Creek were not connected to his book.